Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Critters. Hey, everyone. My name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center where we teach people all over the world about how to empower the lives of their animals and themselves included through the use of applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement. Good morning, Jill. Good morning, everybody. Hey, it's good to be back. Kind of. For those of you that have been following the work that we do, I've been in Key West for the past week. Well, I got back a week ago. Anyways, hence the reason why it might be a little loud here this morning. This is our first regularly scheduled episode of Coffee with the Critters in a couple of weeks due to my travel. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Melinda, Jill, Stacy, Valerie, Diane, Sherry, Dee Dee, Sean, Lisa, Quentin, Melinda. Let's see, who did I forget? Anybody? Nobody? So those of you that signed up to be notified of when we go live, good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Eva. Good morning, Alicia. I saw the notifications going out this morning from yours truly, Rico Joseph. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Critters. I try to do this every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Gotta get my co-host on here. There he is. Except for due to my travel schedule. So, peekaboo. There's a lot that has been going. Good morning, Glorian. Good morning, Tambry. Good morning, Margaret. Hey, Kim. Yvette, Shelly, Sandy. So, we have a lot going on here. We have a lot scheduled coming up. Just got back from vacation / a little bit of work in Key West. Stay tuned. You'll be seeing more coming from Key West. And that's intentional. Anyways, let's see. I'm going to start off with some things we have coming up. And I'll end with some things going on. So, before we go any further, I thought that I try to dedicate each Coffee with the Critters to someone, something, some event, what have you. So today I'm going to dedicate this episode of Coffee with Critters to Sam, our blind Amazon. So anyways, does everybody have their coffee cups? I try to have a different coffee cup celebrating a certain person, a certain animal, a certain event. This morning I chose Sam, and I want to let you guys know, if you have one of our coffee cups, message me a photo of you with the coffee cup, or your animals with the coffee cup and the coffee cup of your choice, and I will post it on that episode of Coffee with Critters. Unfortunately, only I can post the photo because it's a business page. But if you message me your photos, which I get them, good morning, Therese. You message me your photos. By the time I'm done with Coffee with the Critters, I will, not by the time, when I'm done, I will share them here, giving you credit. For those of you that are interested in our mugs, we have them available on our website, and you can find those at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. So we have, I think, a set of 5 already. I think it's about time we get another coffee cup ready. So let me know which animal here you want to see on our next mug, and we will get it done. How do you get a coffee cup? Go to our website, Sherry, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com, and I believe you click on products, and you'll see all the products there, that the t-shirts that we sell, the coffee mugs, and our training products. We come up with the coffee mugs because a lot of our followers fall in love and follow the work of our animals, and we want you to have them be part of your crew, your flock, what have you. Yeah. So this morning's Coffee with the Critters is dedicated to our sweet Sam. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get started with some of the things coming up. I wish I could take my face off of here, but I can't. I can, but you won't be able to hear me anymore. Next, I can do this for that. Next week, be sure to have your notifications turned on, because next week the awesome Dr. Deb Jones is going to be here with me for, I don't remember, is this the third or the fourth episode she's appeared with me here live at the Animal Behavior Center for Coffee with the Critters. Deb Jones and I are going to be talking about several things. She's also coming to town for the weekend because we are getting started on planning our next workshop. This will be our second workshop that I've presented with Deb Jones, which will be the second weekend of October here, 2019. And seats are limited, and they have been selling. So if you want to reserve your spot, get in there and reserve your spot, because they're not going to last long. And I guarantee you, this one's going to sell out. Last one, we're at maximum capacity. So, peekaboo, Rocky. Be sure to join us next Sunday, Coffee with the Critters. I've always said that I think Deb Jones and I should have our own talk show. When I was in Key West last week, got my glasses on, got to get used to it, because I just turned 48 and I need to start wearing them all the time or a little more frequently. Yes, there's Jeannie Underwood, who I went to Key West with last week, and she had made a comment that Deb Jones and I complement each other very well. Yay! So I think Karen just posted where you can get the coffee mugs if you guys are interested. Right there you go. Click on that link. Order your mugs. Don't forget to take photos of you or your animals with the mugs. I get a lot of photos with these, and they honestly make my day. Warm my heart. They're a reinforcer behind why I continue to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning when I could be sleeping in. Good morning, Brenda. So something else I have coming up, I have a calendar in front of me, but I believe this is in 2 weeks. Peekaboo, Rocky. 2 weeks. I will be giving a 4-hour workshop in Chicago. I know a couple people on here are going. I am going to be co-lecturing once again with Dr. Jason Crean, the zoo genetics and biology course he's offering at St. Xavier University, and I am handling the science of training part of it. This is a 4-hour workshop. It is part of the class, but we are opening up the 4-hour presentation to the public. If you want to attend, and how you reserve your spot is clicking on that link. Dr. Jason Crean, you can contact him. Seating is limited, and I believe almost at maximum capacity. Hang on, I got to reinforce behavior. What you doing, Pipsqueak? Where did you go? I love it when our enclosures are so large that I have lost my umbrella cockatoo. One of them. Yeah. ROCKY is fired up today. What? Let's see. Anything else? A couple more things before we get started on today's Q&A. I've been in touch with the producers in the company where Rocky's National Commercial. We're trying to bring them on live here for Coffee with the Critters at the end of this month when Rocky's commercial. It's not a commercial about Rocky. It's a commercial that Rocky's in it. If Rocky's in it, then it's his. The commercial that Rocky is in, he's in 4 of them. will be airing the end of this month. We are going to show you, I believe the company said we can show you the commercial here on Coffee with the Critters. Perfect timing, Pat. We can show you the commercials here on Coffee with the Critters. And I believe the president of the company has agreed to come on Coffee with the Critters with me, and I'm trying to get the production company on as well. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, so this was such great enrichment for Rocky. Studies show that the most complex form of enrichment is social enrichment because there's so much stimulus involved. Rocky has proven that to me, so we are going to start training Rocky. And I mean, a couple of our animals are great to go out in public. Some, not so much. Rico is here for off-contact training, but Rocky, we're going to start harness training him, and I'm taking him on the road with me several different places because he just thrives from that. When you pick certain ambassadors, education animals, certain ones fit the bill. Rocky fits the bill for public appearances. Quincy fits that bill. Levi fits that bill. Milo somewhat fits that bill. Some of the animals here are great candidates for staying here and educating people that come in. Other ambassadors are great for staying in their enclosures and staying in their enclosures and teaching people the importance of off-contact training no matter what the animal. Oh, that is just absolutely hilarious. Certain animals make great ambassadors for different situations, okay? So even if you can't touch the animal, does not mean you cannot train it. We do that all the time with Rico. It's very important to train them. Studies also show that if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. I know, I can back up that statement 100%. It's why I do what I do. Okay, I never grew up wanting to be a professional animal trainer, even though I took a test at a very young age that says I should go into professional animal training. Instead, I have a bachelor's degree in documentary filmmaking because I wanted to make wildlife documentaries. Oh, okay. So Margaret says, I'm sure Rocky thinks his commercial, I had a blue and gold on the ride yesterday, and asked if he could. Yeah. Yes. A lot of our animals make great ambassadors for different situations. Not all animals. Sometimes I have expectancies of certain animals, and as we start the training, I start to shift gears that, I'm second guessing, not guessing, based on the relationship and the behavior you see from that animal during training. Sometimes I gear that training in a different direction. So it doesn't always go exactly as where I thought it was going to go. But I just modify it for whatever works best for that animal and the lives of the people that share their lives with that animal. Make sense? So a couple other things before we start today's Q&A. A week ago, I just got back from spending a whole week again in Key West with the awesome Nancy Forrester. And my group of friends down in Key West is really starting to grow. My group of contacts. Unfortunately, one is not in here. And I picked a different photo, but you'll see on the left here, that's myself. To my left of me, I hope that shows up correctly on the screen, is Laura Keeley, a good friend that works at the Hyatt Centric, and we got introduced through Odie, her parrot. And then beside them is James, a friend and artist, a friend of Nancy Forrester's in Key West and an artist in Key West. If you watched our personal Facebook page, you saw a live stream with him. And then to his left is the awesome Nancy Forrester. To her left is my girlfriend, one of my best friends, Jeannie Underwood. And in front there is a good long-term friend, Kathy Hahn, owner of mysafebirdstore.com. So anyways, one more photo. I want to give a huge shout out to Nancy Forrester. A week ago, Thursday was my birthday, and she arranged a flamingo encounter, and it was an amazing experience and one I will never forget. So thank you, Nancy Forrester, and the owner, George, of the Butterfly Conservatory down there on Duval. Duval, not Duval, as my East Coast friends say. You know who I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get started with some Q&As. I will do my best to answer your questions, and I will do my best to do some live streams. I intentionally have Quincy, who is not counter surfing. You weren't counter surfing, were you? It's not me. You want to come up and say hi to everybody? Quincy is here, so we can do some training for you this morning based on, hey, Laura. Thank you. Based on your questions, I was going to get Coco out. Coco is our 32-year-old umbrella cockatoo, who's been with us for 2 years. We can do some off contact or protective contact training with him. I have Milo in the other room, but maybe if you guys want to see some pig training, hey, Tim, if you guys want to see some pig training, maybe we do that in the future, because here we do not let our pigs and our dogs out together. Pig is singular, not plural, due to safety reasons. A lot of the work we do here at the center, a lot of the work we do here at the center, because we have 15 animals here. Those are parrots, raptors, pigs, dogs, fish. Because we have so many animals, a lot of our work is dedicated to shifting and moving animals safely. That's the reason for a station, which we're going to be live streaming our training on how to teach a station in our level 1 membership. Based on yesterday's Q&A in level 1. And if you want to find out more about the online learning that we offer, you can find out at our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. We have level 1 for companion animal owners, level 2 for people that are interested in more intense work with using applied behavior analysis and understanding how to use it with animals in positive reinforcement. In level 2, we have professional animal trainers, a lot of professional animal trainers, but not limited to, just people who want to understand the science of behavior. We have BCBAs, board certified behavior analysts in there. A lot of wildlife rehab centers. We've got another organization getting ready to join level 2 as soon as I get some paperwork filed. And then we have our species specific. That is the pig project, the parrot project, the snow project, the deaf dog project, those who are interested in certain species specific behaviors. Level 2, I am working on getting in another animal here. We usually take in zoo or wildlife ambassadors here and we train them. And in level 2, I go live and show how I start right from the beginning. And I like picking animals I've never worked with before, such as the African crested porcupine, to show how I get the animal to do what I need it to do. And if you want more information on any of that, tickle, 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 you can email me at laura@theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. That's right, or go to our website. So Melinda says, I love the parrot project. I love the parrot project. True. Tickle. The Parrot Project is our online learning about parrot behavior training and enrichment. And I've often had several professional dog trainers that have seen some of my presentations and workshops say that every dog certification program should include training parrots, because you can fine-tune your skills by working with exotics, by working with prey, understanding what aversives, positive punishers, positive reinforcers look like and how they're identified. Okay, so yes. Yes. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions? I see Ray says she loves the parrot project as well. Thank you, Ray, from Florida. Ray and Ari. So here, when people come here to do a workshop, we have an array of exotics, a lot of, see you, Laura, an array of exotics, a lot of prey, a lot of animals. We bring in animals where human contact and proximity to humans is an aversive, something the animal doesn't like. So we show where to, got a scream getting ready to start behind me. We show where to begin, how to pair yourself with the positive, how to identify positive reinforcers. And we had one of our volunteers here said, identifying positive reinforcers is not easy. And I'm here to tell you, I wrote an article on how to identify positive reinforcers. Okay, Kim, I'm going to answer your question as soon as I finish this. What a positive reinforcer is. Positive is called positive, not necessarily because it's enjoyed, it's because it's added to the environment. So the true definition of a reinforcer is anything that occurs after a behavior that causes the future rate of that behavior to maintain or increase. There's two different types of reinforcers. Positive reinforcers are things that are added to the environment. So it's something that's added to the environment after the behavior that causes the future rate of that behavior not only to increase, but to maintain. If this behavior is continuing it on a certain level, that means it's being reinforced. When positive reinforcers are always something of value to the animal, something the animal likes. So when I first get in an animal, I sit and watch. I don't interact with it. I just sit and watch. What is it moving towards? What is it moving away from? And everything that it's moving towards, I'm sitting here noting. Potential positive reinforcer, potential use of positive reinforcers. Some examples of positive reinforcers could be treats, could be other different, could be temperature, could be tone of voice, could be proximity, could be rhythm, could be engagement, could be vocalization, could be tactile touch. So many times people think positive reinforcers mean food. Ha, ha, ha. You're gonna get yourself stuck in a rut if you're only using food as a positive reinforcer, because as your environment changes, your positive reinforcers will change. What works here where the animal is comfortable may not work out there where the animal is not familiar or doesn't have enough history of interaction. Peek-a-boo. Peek-a-boo. And these are the things we get into the nitty-gritty in identifying and do live streaming on and podcasts on in our memberships and our projects. Kim says, Kim Wendy, professional horse trainer out of Texas. Also a member says, when I get a new horse, I watch them for 3 days before I start doing anything. Yes, I love that, Kim. I do that here as well. I was going to positively reinforce the behavior. You always reinforce behavior, not the animal. Behavior. Behavior is observable and measurable. Water. Julianne says water could be a positive reinforcer. Hey, Julie, remember? Water is definitely could be a reinforcer. So Kim says, where do you find info on positive punishers? Kim, aren't you in the projects and the memberships? If you are, take a look at the documents in there, the files in there. We have everything defined. We also do live streams and podcasts on these topics. So because I've described a positive punisher, because I've described a positive reinforcer, tickle rock, let me define a positive punisher. Okay, so like a reinforcer, there's similarity in the definition of a punisher. Anything after a behavior that causes the future rate of that behavior, and here's where it changes. If it's a reinforcer, that behavior maintains or increases. If it's a punisher, that behavior decreases. Okay? So, and it's positive because it's added. It's only a punisher if the behavior decreases. Something is added to the environment to get that behavior to decrease. And if it's added, that's the positive. And positive reinforcers are always things of high value to the animal. Positive punishers are always aversives, always things the animals do not like. We stay as far away from positive punishers and negative reinforcement as possible, okay? Even like the awesome Paul Chance stated, and I read his books, do we use positive punishers here? Yes. If the alternative is worse of not using a positive punisher. But I always say, note to self, peekaboo. I need to reinforce that tone of voice. Let's see if we do. Peekaboo. Is that behavior going to maintain or increase? Peekaboo. Peekaboo. So the behavior of Rocky saying peekaboo is maintaining. It's being reinforced. What's reinforcing it? I'm trying to use I'm being negatively reinforced to use a certain tone of voice. Peekaboo, Rocky. Hi. I see you. Eye contact, reinforcement. As I say, peekaboo, if I use a positive punisher. Peekaboo, it's an aversive to get a behavior to stop. Okay? If I use that, if I have to use it, which I will use it if the alternative is worse of not using it. Okay? And I meant to go deeper into this in my workshop in Montreal a couple of weeks ago. For example, let's say bird is on the ground. Oh, that is so funny. Let's say Cello, our roller pigeon, is on the ground in the center. I open up the door to let Levi, our deaf bulldog, out. And let's say Cello is standing right there. There's an encounter that I cannot have happen. All right? I may throw my foot out like this to get Levi to stop. Because that's a positive punisher. If Levi stops. Okay? If Levi stops, and he likely would, he would go like this, and he would get nervous and lick his lips and put his ears down, stop eye contact. There's consequences of using positive punishers to control behavior. That's why we try to stay away from them as much as possible. But that encounter could have worse effects. So there's an example where I will use a positive punisher to stop behavior. But that whole encounter right there should be a quick key to me. Don't open that door again without reinforcing eye contact and a sit and stay from Levi while I open it up and make sure the coast is clear. Okay? I do not want that encounter to happen again. When I use a positive punisher, which is very rare, extremely rare, there are very, 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 extremely, very few instances where you could give me a situation where an alternate method cannot be incorporated other than using positive punishers. Peekaboo. So I don't want that encounter to happen again because I'm going to see the side effects of using aversive to control behavior with Levi. We use applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement here to empower animals, empower their lives with us. It also makes, I'm looking for a spot to reinforce. It makes your life a lot easier and a lot happier, however you want to define happy. Okay? Yes, Beth says, notice the antecedent. Okay? The next time I walk up and open that door, not even the next time, before I even walk up and open up that door the next time, there's going to be training that happens here. Here we do ask, sit, stay, watch, wait to go out. Okay, and we do that on purpose to make sure certain animals are off the ground in the center. Stacy has a comment. I wrote, "Peek, tickle, tickle, rock." There's my S and disc. Pika, wow. I see you. Okay. If you want to make yourself, we're all training whether you realize it or not. Learning, animals learn through training. Okay. If you want to really fine-tune your skills in animal training, behavior observation, behavior modification plans, training plans, try to take the word no out of your vocabulary. Instead of telling the ant, because that's a positive punisher, depending on how it's used and depending on the results. If I tell an animal no, that's in the behavior stops. That could be a positive punisher. Okay, we don't tell animals no here because we know through experience and science of behavior and studies that animals learn faster from being reinforced for what to do versus being told what not to do. Okay. Stacy says, any tips I can give a client of mine? Her dog is absolutely terrified, pooping and peeing everywhere to aggressive behavior. What does that mean? Anytime it leaves its house. Don't know where to tell her to start. Pooping and peeing everywhere to aggressive behavior. What's the to aggressive behavior? That's the part I don't understand, Stacy. I know Stacy. I've met Stacy in Long Island before. So it sounds, Stacy, I'm going to scroll up so I can see if you, I'm going to scroll up to see if you say anything else. She had the dog for a while, but the behavior has progressed. Last time I saw her a year ago, for her vaccines, she just needed a muzzle, but was otherwise okay. So is this a fearful dog? It sounds, Stacy, that this is a fearful dog. I guess I'm just confused at what aggressive behavior means. Is it aggressive behavior from the dog? What are those behaviors? I'll wait for you to comment more, but without knowing anymore, I bet you she's taken too big of steps in her shaping plans, which is not uncommon. I think so. Stacy says, I think so. So if she's getting aggressive, she's probably taking too big of steps in shaping plans. And let me go into shaping plans. Shaping plans are reinforcing small approximations towards shaping plans are making small approximations towards the target behavior. Okay, target behavior here could be dog going out in public. If you take too big of steps in those shaping plans, which most people do, you can actually reinforce the very undesired behavior that you're trying to change. And the key here, and one of the setbacks I hear from people when I start going into talking about shaping plans is, I don't have that much patience. I am here to tell you I am not a patient person. Okay? So in my shaping plans, and we just discussed this in level 1, yesterday's level 1 monthly Q&A, my shaping plans are so small. And when people say that they don't have that much patience, they're probably taking too big of steps. And I'm talking, Stacy, about how you can explain this to your client. They're taking too big of steps. So they're not getting the results they want, and they say, forget it, they're done. All right, this is too time consuming. I have to pay too much attention. Well, what's your alternative? What is your alternative? So when I'm looking for small steps in my shaping plan, I'm looking for things just like, and this is exactly what I said in yesterday's Q&A, I'm looking for things just like this, that small shift in behavior. When I see that small shift in movement, when I see that small shift, is it moving towards my target behavior? Yes. Stacy, are you still with me? So, Stacy, what I suggest to you is this is why we do the memberships, because they're year long. I have annual guidance. I used to do consults here where people would come in here to the center, or I would go into their house. I would do no less than 4 weeks at a time. Okay? Peekaboo. The people positively punished several things positively punished my behavior of continuing to offer them. This is too short of a period of time. Almost any and every behavior needs a lot more guidance. Look at that somersault. Yes. Most people need more than 4 weeks. That's why I started the membership. Now I've got you all year. Because if nobody... Where's my mute button? Just mute your computers for a second. We've got an extinction burst happening behind us. I can do that. I'm trying to save your eardrums. But I don't want you thinking I went away. That's why we designed the membership program. was interested in botany or paleontology, it's a hell of an extinction date. And if I turn around and look at them right now, I'll reinforce it. But that's why, Stacy, and I'm telling you this for a reason. I'm waiting for another behavior to happen behind me. That's why I do the membership programs and the projects, because I have you all year, because most people need all year. I'm telling you that for a reason, Stacy, to see if you can incorporate something more frequent. Ring your bell, Sam. Hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. Okay. Doesn't matter what the animal, this is the science of behavior. We had an extinction burst back there. So people may ask the question, did I just reinforce all that screaming? Or my intention was to wait for a period of silence and reinforce silence. Not reinforcing silence. What I'm looking for is reinforcing any other behavior other than screaming. So did I reinforce the scream? Or what the heck was that? Did I reinforce the scream? Or am I reinforcing the behavior of him staying on the perch with his mouth? If you would have asked me that 30 seconds ago, I would have said, I don't know yet. And I'm still not really sure yet. But I do believe I am in the process, because now the behavior of on this perch with mouth closed is the behavior I'm looking for, is being reinforced, right? And because something of high value is being added. So what I'm actually using is differential reinforcement. And that is one of the most effective schedules of reinforcement to change behavior. Differential reinforcement means you extinguish all other behaviors while reinforcing another. Okay? So I do believe I am positively reinforcing the behavior of him staying perched and mouth shut. Right? You guys tell me, what are the positive reinforcers? Plural. List the positive reinforcers I'm delivering, because it's a lot more than food. Those of you in the projects and memberships should be nailing this. Did my screen freeze, or does anybody out there want to take a guess at some of the positive reinforcers I'm delivering? Melinda says reinforce a good, sounds which always works. And that makes me think of something, because now he's saying hi. You got it, Melinda. There's one. Eye contact. There's more. Because now he's starting to say hi. And now that he's starting to say hi, I will put the behavior of reinforcing the behavior of him saying hi. Hi, good. On a continuous schedule of reinforcement. because reinforcing periods of silence can be very tricky. Can it be done? Sure, but it can be very tricky and it can blow up in your face. Okay, Allison says proximity. Bam, nailed it. That's another one. I know, and that's why I use positive reinforcement training. I know that when you start using positive reinforcement training, in the beginning, depending on the animal, a lot of times, if you're lucky, you can use food. That animal has no reason to want to be with you. But once you start using positive reinforcement, you're pairing yourself with things of high value to the animal. Those are called conditioned reinforcers. And pretty soon, the opportunity to be with you, becomes a positive reinforcer. And then another one is, what was that? I'm going to reinforce that one too. Then you'll start to see, where your bridge can actually start to become the positive reinforcer. Several of my animals, not just parrots, my dogs will work. I'm listening to behavior in Rocky's cage. Several of my animals will work for the opportunity to hear how awesome they are, hear how good they are, okay? That is the power of positive reinforcement. So many people are saying, Colleen, nailed it, S and disc. Alicia says tone of voice, absolutely. Julie says treats. I didn't miss that high. So he's hesitating in taking the treats. So another one is social engagement. And didn't I start off saying that, that was Coco, not Rico. Didn't I start off saying that one of the most complex forms of enrichment is social interaction? So he's starting to hesitate in taking the treats. Nice job. That's telling me he wants to keep me close, I think. And so behavior isn't simple. And Rico will also, I love parrots. I love a lot of animals, but I really love parrots because they are so complex. Okay. Yes. So Alice says responding with mimicry. Absolutely. Quentin, who is now in the Parrot Project after a couple months of watching, Quentin says, so after how long after the screaming stops should you reinforce silence? Quentin, I'm glad you asked that. Hang on, I'm going to address that question. Quentin, I highly suggest, peekaboo. I highly suggest you look for another behavior or sound to reinforce instead of period of silence. Because here's the tricky part of reinforcing silence. Peekaboo. I see you, silly bird. I see you. Because what if the animal doesn't understand that it was the period of silence that's earning the reinforcer versus, the undesired behavior? If the animal thinks it was the undesired behavior, you're likely going to unknowingly reinforce the undesired behavior. Does that make sense, Quentin? Right, Daphne? Peekaboo, I think I got another one. And if you accidentally reinforce the undesired behavior, then you could be switching to an intermittent schedule reinforcement, meaning the undesired behavior is or desired behavior is reinforced once in a while. The problem with that is it confuses the animal and can make that undesired behavior very strong. Does anybody here remember me saying what behavior, there's several behaviors, but what behavior do I make sure here that stays on a continuous schedule of reinforcement? Continuous schedule of reinforcement means every time the behavior is given, it's reinforced. Every single time. Does anybody remember? Hesitating, taking the treats. My macaw hesitates to give his favorite people a kiss goodbye so they cannot leave. Yep, Margaret, I recognized this many years ago. That's actually called poisoning the cue. You got it, Pat. Recall. Recall here is always on a continuous schedule of reinforcement. If I see somebody recall an animal and not reinforce, I will say you definitely want to reinforce that. Recall is when you ask an animal to come to you on cue. Peekaboo. Okay. I want a parrot flying out of the rafters down to my hand. I want a dog coming to me whenever that is so silly. Nice job. Yeah. Here, if I call an animal to me, it needs to be rock solid. I want you to drop whatever you're doing and come running as fast as you can. Peekaboo, Rocky, Joseph. Increasing the size of that reinforcer. Daphne. Daphne says, my response to what behavior do I keep on a continuous schedule of reinforcement? Getting a glass of wine. That is another one. Yeah, poisoning the cue means accidentally pairing the cue, the behavior you're requesting, with an aversive. Makes sense? I've poisoned the cue of several things here. Hi. I make mistakes. I make sure I learn from them. I don't want to repeat them. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. That's correct. And you guys all think I'm drinking water and coffee. This is how I get up so early in the morning. Yeah, poisoning the cue. You can poison the cue in several different ways. Elle says, can you say that again about the cue, please? Yeah, poisoning the cue. It's when you accidentally pair an aversive with the cue, the behavior that you're trying to train. For example, says, Margaret said, I'll tell you one here. I've done a couple, but I noticed them. I noticed that I'm poisoning. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to go down this road any further. I better change my approach. You guys all know me too well. What? Okay, here's a couple I can give. Snow, our deaf and blind dog. She comes in from I let her outside to go to the bathroom. She comes in from going to the bathroom, and I give her a treat. Okay? I have paired giving a treat to her with me leaving and going upstairs to finish getting ready. I have positively punished the behavior of her taking the treat. She no longer takes the treat because she'll take the treat if I stay downstairs with her. But if she thinks I'm going to go upstairs and go away, I have positively punished the behavior for taking the treat. Another one is these guys at night. It's a certain thing I do. I give them all pine nuts in a paper cone cup. Everybody takes them except for Rico. I have positively punished the behavior of Rico because what I was trying to train is I redirect behavior when I'm getting ready to leave. Everybody redirects attention to the pine nuts, and it takes them a while to eat, and I can leave the premises with inducing as little stress and anxiety as possible. So I went to give Rico the treat, the paper cone cup, and he refuses. He turns his head because I paired it with me leaving. That pairing it with me leaving lets me know that my physical contact and engagement is of high value and a positive reinforcer. So I've changed that. Does that make sense? Here's another example. I was training Cello, our roller pigeon, to fly to a certain perch. He would drop food, and the pig would move the stand to get to the food that's dropped. So that moving of the stand would knock Cello off balance. So the cue of flying to the perch was punished. It was paired with that aversive of Milo pushing it. All right? So the behavior of him flying to the perch was positively punished. And that was absolutely totally different than what I was trying to train. So if you guys like what you heard this morning on Coffee with the Critters, we go live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. This is what we do throughout the week in level 1 for companion animals, level 2 for people wanting to know more about ABA, and wanting to professional trainers and zoos, wildlife rehab centers. And then we have our projects. The Parrot Project is exploding. It is full of content. In our projects, we do live streams, interviews, webinars. We do those as well in level 1 and 2, in addition to podcasts. And if you have any questions on our memberships or programs, you can email me at laura@theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Stay tuned. We will be having a pet tutor workshop here at the Animal Behavior Center on Saturday, April 27th. Wes and or Amanda will be here. Email us if you want to reserve your spot. We will be live streaming this in our membership program. Pet Tutor is a remote control treat training device used for animals in zoos, professional training, grooming, the Animal Behavior Center. If you want to get more information, you can sign up for our email newsletter. You can do that here right on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page. So Julie says, I love the podcast. I love that you love the podcast. If you are a member and are not listening to your podcast, you are missing a huge part of your membership. Those are made to learn on the fly, learn while you're cleaning, learn while you're working out, sync it to your car. Listen to those. And they accompany, hey, Sandy, they accompany the live streams that we do throughout the month. All right, everybody. All right, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm just following up. Thanks again, and I will be in touch very soon. Don't forget, join us next week for Coffee with the Critters with Deb Jones right here, 9 a.m. next Sunday. See you guys.